Like a puzzle, UN Watchdog chief warns Iran not far from nuclear bomb. The United Nations nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi warned on Wednesday that Iran was not far from possessing a nuclear bomb, shortly before he arrived in Tehran for talks. Western countries, including the United States, have long suspected Iran of seeking to acquire nuclear weapons, an allegation Tehran has consistently denied, insisting that its program is for peaceful civilian purposes. It's like a puzzle. They have the pieces, and one day they could eventually put them together, Grossi told French newspaper Le Monde in an interview published on Wednesday. There's still a way to go before they get there. But they're not far off, that has to be acknowledged. The UN watchdog was tasked with overseeing Iran's nuclear program and its compliance with the 2015 nuclear deal, which collapsed 3 years later when the US withdrew from it in President Donald Trump's first term. It's not enough to tell the international community we don't have nuclear weapons for them to believe you. We need to be able to verify, said Grossi, head of the International Atomic Energy Agency IAEA. He arrived on Wednesday in Tehran and met Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. He will also meet Mohammad Eslami, who heads Iran's Nuclear Energy Agency. His visit comes ahead of a second round of talks between Iran and the US on April 19, a week after the two countries held their highest-level talks since Trump abandoned the nuclear deal in 2018. Both sides called the first meeting constructive. Earlier, Araghchi said Iran's enrichment of uranium under its nuclear program was non-negotiable after U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff called for it to end. Iran's enrichment is a real, accepted matter, he told reporters. We are ready to build confidence in response to possible concerns, but the issue of enrichment is non-negotiable. His remarks came after Witkoff said Tuesday Iran must stop and eliminate enriching uranium as part of any nuclear deal. The day before, Witkoff had urged only that Iran return to the 3.67% enrichment ceiling set by its 2015 accord with major powers. In its latest report, the IAEA said Iran had an estimated 274.8 kilograms 605 pounds of uranium enriched to up to 60%. That level far exceeds the 3.67% ceiling set by the 2015 deal, but still falls short of the 90% threshold required for a nuclear warhead. After returning to office in January, Trump reimposed sweeping sanctions against Iran under his policy of maximum pressure. In March, he wrote to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, urging talks but also warning of possible military action if these fail to produce a deal. Ahead of the new round of talks, Araghchi condemned what he called the Trump administration's contradictory and conflicting positions. We will find out the true opinions of the Americans during the negotiation session, he said. He said he hoped to start negotiations on the framework of a possible agreement, but that this required constructive positions from the United States. If we continue to hear contradictory and conflicting positions, we are going to have problems, he added. On Wednesday, Iranian state media said the talks with US will be in Rome with Omani mediation, as an Italian spokesman also confirmed the location. However, US and Iranian officials have not officially confirmed the venue. Araghchi is set to head to Iran's ally Russia on Thursday, Tehran's ambassador in Moscow Kazem Jalili said. Iran has said the visit was pre-planned, but will include discussions on the Iran-US talks. The objective of my trip to Russia is to convey a written message from the Supreme Leader to President Vladimir Putin, he said. In readiness for the US talks, Iran has engaged with Russia and China, which were both parties to the 2015 deal. Ahead of the talks, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said he hoped a deal could be reached with the US, the official IRNA news agency reported. Swipe left for next video. On Tuesday, April 15, Khomeini cautioned that while the talks went well in their early stages, they could still prove fruitless. The negotiations may or may not yield results, he said, noting that Iran had already outlined its red lines. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have said the country's military capabilities are off limits in the talks. And late on April 13, IRNA said Iran's regional influence and its missile capabilities, both sources of Western concern, were also among its red lines. Latest blogs.